We are back catfishing guys on Hinge and stealing their fishing spots. Look, I know it's been a while since I sat down and edited a video, but trust me, you're going to see something soon that makes it all worth it. Anyway, let's travel back in time to that first fishing day on the coast and see what our third and final spot has to offer. Now, just a reminder, I already have 2 keeper greenling in the cooler, and that means I'm only allowed to keep 1 more reef fish for the day before I hit my bag limit. For better or worse, the final spot for today is another reef. In fact, it's a pretty common area, so let's talk about it. I'm going to Depot Bay. If you've been to Depot Bay, you've probably seen all the signs about how it's the world's smallest harbor and this cute little resort town, but fishermen know it for something better. It has a short boat ramp that goes right into the ocean and basically drops you off into 100-foot deep water right on top of the reef. It is an amazing fishing spot if you have the equipment because you can go left, you can go right. No matter where you go, there's rockfish, there's greenling, there's cabezone, there's lingcod, there's whatever you're looking for. And you might think this diversity and this, really deep water would make it an amazing spot for shore fishermen, but that's where the looks can be deceiving. You see, these rocks right by the Coast Guard station do have access to deep water, but the very steep drop comes with a price. It comes with a dangerous shore break and relatively common rogue waves. If you perch up there on a normal day, especially in the winter, and you turn your back for the ocean for just a few seconds, you could be going in the water. Now, you might think those cliffs over there on the right side, well, they look a lot safer. And because they're a lot safer, they're probably a lot better for fishing. And that's where my intuition took me last year. In fact, I spent 2 separate multi-hour streams just trying to get anything at this spot. And every time I'd go there, I wouldn't even get a single bite. Let's open up a bathymetric chart. How deep do you think the water is there? 30, 50, 100 feet deep? No, it's less than 10. And because it's so shallow, it makes sense that you wouldn't get any bites. Why would the fish come into shallow water where they have no way of escaping predators when there's 100-foot deep reefs just a few hundred feet away? The last spot is a spot that probably would be relatively productive. It's those cliffs over there to the left. Now, the main reason I don't like fishing from these kind of cliffs is because what happens if you catch an illegal fish, right? What happens if I catch an undersized lingcod? I have to safely release this fish with teeth in its gills into the water. How am I going to carry this fish down into the water after hauling it up off the cliff? It's not going to work very well. And because of that, this spot is usually just not worth the time if you're a scrub shore fisherman. But that's where that word usually comes in. You see, there is one set of conditions that can turn this spot into an amazing location, and it's the reason why I'm on the coast today. You see, this footage comes from December, and if you're looking at the GoPro feed and being like, wait, it's sunny, the waves are small, this isn't December, and you're right. This is very, very rare conditions for this time in the season. And that means 2 things. One, this first spot that we rode off because of the dangerous shore break becomes manageable. If a rogue wave pops up, it's no longer going to sweep us into the ocean, it's just going to splash us a little bit. But 2, the fish know this is the time of the year that's safe. This is when the lingcod come from 200, 300 feet deep water, and they come up to the bay to breed. This makes them tired, hungry, and more importantly, a lot bigger than normal. Now, in these prime conditions, there's a mistake a lot of rookies, including myself, would make. The right side of the harbor looks superior in every way. It's easy to get to, there's parking spots right next to the walls, there's no cliffs you have to climb down. You're only about a couple hundred feet off of the left side, so what difference would that really make? Well, actually quite a lot. Let's go back to the bathymetric charts. You see that green? That is the intertidal area. It is significantly larger on the right side, and that means when you're casting out from the shore on the right side of the harbor, you're not landing in the deep water reef, you're landing in the intertidal kelp, which tends not to have very many fish. All that is to say, if you guys do decide to fish the shores at Depot Bay, please go on the left side. Don't waste your time on the right. Anyway, now that I've got the story painted, let's get down to the water and let's actually start fishing. As always, I started with my standard rigs. I'm doing a high-low rig with sand shrimp on my smaller rod, and on my heavy rod, I have a herring and a heavyweight. Unfortunately, this herring's over a day old, and it's starting to look and feel a little gross. I kinda doubt a hungry lingcod is gonna take this. However, sand shrimps, still alive, still fresh. I cast them out, and it didn't take very long for me to get the first bite. Now, after I reeled in this little goober, I had a hard choice. This is definitely a keeper greenling, but if I keep it, I've officially hit the bag limit for general reef fish. That doesn't mean I have to stop fishing. I've not yet hit the bag limit for lingcod. In fact, I still haven't gotten one. But if I retain the greenling, I have to put away my small rod, and I have to rely on the herring. Now, as bad as that sounds, if I throw the greenling back, well, I lose the fish I want to eat for dinner, and there's no guarantee I'll get a better one. Luckily, I do have a third option that gives me the best of both worlds. You see, right now, my herring is being harassed by the red rock crabs. By that I mean, I cast the herring out, within 5 minutes the crabs have already found it and tore it to shreds. But they're not going to touch a greenling, especially a live one. So if I hook up the greenling and cast him gently out, well, then I have a live bait that swims around under distress, and the crabs are going to leave it alone. Unfortunately, since I have a live greenling, I can't just chuck it out like I've been doing the herring, and it's only going to land in about 10 to 15 foot deep water. Now look, I know if you ask any fisherman, live bait is king, live bait will get you the good bites, and that's true if you're in 100-foot deep reefs. If you're in 10 to 15 foot deep water, you really got to rely on a desperate lingcod to be nearby to see that fish kind of struggling and being like, you know what, I can risk it. I can swim up from the depths, I can acclimate, I can stalk it for 20 minutes, and it's definitely not going to swim away and ruin my night. The reality is most of the time, even with a live bait in shallow water, you're not going to get anything. Anyway, after getting my good enough setup, I tossed out the fish and let her swim around. And swim she did. I would check up on her every 10 minutes or so, but nothing was coming into the shallows to eat her. After about half an hour, I started to feel bad for Miss Greenling, so I decided to call it a day and just be happy with my bag limit of marine fish, even though I didn't get the grand prize. Now look, that concludes today's episode, and I am finished with my secret project, so I'll see you this weekend for episode 4. But honestly, I'd recommend sticking around because in a couple days, I'm going to show you something unique, something that no YouTuber has ever done before, and something I'm very proud of. Hopefully, you guys think it was worth the delay in the episodes, just like I do. It has not delayed the filming, so you're probably going to see 2 episodes a week until we're caught back up. Until then, I'll see you around. Peace.